There's a peculiar madness that comes from the sea, a salt weariness that erodes the mind, leaving the traveler hollowed out by wind and wave. When the shores of the living world finally rise from the mist, they promise safety, but they often hide a far more insidious danger. For the ancient Greeks, the greatest terror was not the monster with teeth of shark or lion, but the beautiful woman who offers you a drink and a warm fire, only to steal your memory, your name, and your skin. This is the dark magic of the island of Aeaea, where the boundary between the human and the primal dissolves into the mist. Cast your mind back to an age when the Mediterranean was a labyrinth of gods and monsters. Our world is one where the olive groves of the mainland give way to the unknown, where the wine-dark sea is a highway for heroes and a graveyard for the arrogant. It is a cosmos governed by fate, a relentless tapestry woven by the three sisters, and even the wheeliest of men is but a thread in their design. We find ourselves in the 10th year of the Odyssey, following the most wily of all Greeks, Odysseus. He is the man of many turns, the sacker of cities, who has blinded the Cyclops and insulted the Earthshaker, Poseidon. He is exhausted, his crew is dwindling, and the gods are silent. After escaping the cannibalistic Laestrygonians, who crushed his ships like walnuts, Odysseus and his battered fleet wash up near the floating island of Aeaea. It is a place of haunting stillness. Here lives Circe, the nymph with the braided hair, daughter of the sun god Helios and the Oceanid purse. She is not a goddess, but something older and stranger, a sorceress who dwells apart from mortal men. Odysseus beaches his ship, but his courage is failing him. He sits on the rocks, weeping, staring at the endless gray horizon, paralyzed by the sheer weight of his suffering. It is then that his men, desperate and starving, venture inland. They come upon a palace of polished stone, shimmering in a forest glade, surrounded by wolves and mountain lions. These beasts should tear a man apart, yet they approach the sailors with tails wagging, tamed by the sorceress as potent drugs. The men hear a woman singing within, weaving at a massive loom, a voice of indescribable, narcotic beauty. They call out to her, and she invites them in without fear. Eurylochus, the Captaina's skeptical kinsman, hangs back, suspicious of this too perfect welcome. He watches from the shadows as his comrades are ushered into Circe's hall. She offers them a potion, a mixture of honey, wine, barley, and moly, a cheese she sprinkles with malicious herbs. As they drink, the enchantment takes hold. Circe strikes them with her wand, not to kill, but to unmake. Their clothes fall away as they shrink, their skin bristles with coarse fur, their faces elongate into snouts. In moments, the brave captains of Ithaca are gone, replaced by a herd of grunting swine. She drives them into sties, tossing them acorns and cornel fruit, the food of beasts, while they weep with the eyes of men. Eurylochus flees back to the ship, his hair standing on end, his voice trembling. He reports the annihilation of the crew. Odysseus is faced with a choice: retreat to the sea and starve, or descend into the belly of the beast to save his men. He straps his bronze sword to his shoulder and takes his heavy spear, marching alone toward the palace of magic. This is the defining trait of the Aeaea, to walk into the dark when every instinct screams to run. On the path, he meets the god Hermes. The messenger of the gods, disguised as a young man, stops him. He knows that Odysseus cannot face Circe with steel alone. Magic must be met with magic. Hermes plucks a plant called moly from the ground, a black root, and a milky white flower, potent against witchcraft. He instructs Odysseus: rush the sorceress, but when she strikes, draw the blade and feign the killing stroke. She will yield, but only if the oath is unbreakable. Odysseus enters the hall. Circe offers him the seat of honor, the bowl of potion, the same seductive smile. He drinks, but the moly protects his stomach. When she strikes him with her wand, expecting him to crumble into a wolf or a pig, he remains firm. He draws his sword and rushes at her, a shout of raw fury. The blade is at her throat. The illusion shatters. Circe is terrified. She clutches his knees, recognizing him at last as Odysseus of the many wiles, the one prophesied to come. She pleads for his mercy, offering her bed and her loyalty. Odysseus, ever cautious, demands a binding oath by the blessed gods that she will work no more treachery. She swears it. The dynamic shifts instantly. The tension that filled the room evaporates, replaced by a strange, warm hospitality. The servant nymphs draw a bath for Odysseus, and Circe prepares a feast. For a year, Odysseus stays in her palace, trapped not by a cage, but by comfort. The crew is restored from swine back to Mina younger and handsomer than before. They feast on endless meat and wine, forgetting the sea, forgetting Ithaca, forgetting the war. They are drugged by luxury, the most dangerous spell of all. It is only when the year has turned and the crew finally reminds their captain of his home that the spell breaks. Odysseus, his heart burning for his wife Penelope, demands to leave. Circe is saddened, but she aids him. She reveals the path home is not straight. They must sail past the sirens, whose singing lures men to their deaths, and through the strait of Scylla and Charybdis. She guides him as a mother would, washing the darkness from their eyes, sending them back into the salt spray. The myth of Circe captures a profound anxiety of the ancient Greek psyche, the fear of the other, and specifically the fear of the civilized man being reduced to a beast. In this culture, civilization was a fragile, hard-won achievement, separated from the wild by the laws of the city and the hearth. To be turned into a piga, regressing to a state of mute, grunting animalisma, was the ultimate spiritual death. It was the erasure of Xenia, the sacred guest-host bond that held society together. Yet, the myth also acknowledges that there is wisdom in the wild. Circe is not merely a villain. She is a necessary initiation. Odysseus cannot go home until he has survived the goddess of magic and learned the secrets of the underworld that she alone can reveal. This story has echoed through the ages, finding new life in every generation. It survived in the Roman verses of Ovid, echoed in the medieval romances of Morgan Le Fay, and pulses through the fantasy literature of the modern world. It has been painted on pottery, spun into operas, and retold in countless novels, most recently reimagined as a tale of feminine power and divine isolation. It lingers in our language, in the word pharmakon, meaning both remedy and poison, which Circe embodies perfectly. We leave the story of the Palace of Circe with a lingering question. When we find ourselves tired of the struggle, seeking an escape from the pain of the real world, do we not risk entering our own Aeaea? The offer to forget, to indulge, to cease our striving and simply graze in contentment is the oldest temptation of the human soul. Like Odysseus, we must eventually realize that comfort is not the end of the journey. We must sheathe our swords, finish the wine, and turn our eyes back toward the perilous, beautiful sea, for the only true home is the one we fight to return to.